Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to our channel. We're Pub and Bed Travels. I'm Dan.
I'm Bob.
And today we are discussing our recent cruise. Do our good, our bad, and sort of our reviews of it.
Yeah, the cruise was technically 2 months ago now, and start of the very first week of July, and we're now comes the end of the first week of September.
Mm-hmm.
But it's taken us this long to get through the whole series.
Yeah, and getting this recorded. So, yeah, the format, we're going to go through each little thing, and we'll sort of tell our reviews of each bit. So, like a good part, a bad part, etc. Then we'll have an overall summary at the end, and we'll probably insert clips as we talk of things. Well, I say we.
Yeah.
Bob.
And when it comes to the restaurants, we won't go into too much detail because we
No.
do plan to do a separate food review.
Yes.
Video.
Yeah. So, the first point we're going to talk about is the car parking, which we got with our cruise that we booked.
Through CPS.
CPS, yep. So, it was quick and easy, the actual parking. You just turn up at the time. You've got like a time when you're meant to turn up, which is kind of like your boarding time. You're meant to turn up at that time. You drop off your car. They just take pictures of it. And then that's it. You give them the keys.
Walked around, checked for any damage.
Yeah.
To make sure that they didn't damage any at all.
Yeah.
And literally just walked across the road, the little road pathway thing, and you were there at the ship.
So that's a good part.
Bad part.
Yep. It books up quite quickly. I've heard of people having problems getting it because they wait until a week beforehand. I think they suggest booking at least a month in advance. So make sure that if you've got it, you book ahead of time. Because you need to make sure that you get in. Otherwise, you'd be grabbing around to get a car park and maybe paying even more because you'd have to pay for other car parks, obviously.
Yeah.
So next section.
Boarding.
This is our favourite part because we're going on the cruise.
Yeah. Good points. It's, again, quick and easy.
Yes, very quick and easy.
As long as you turned up at the time slot you're given, or thereabouts, which we did, in our case anyway, we turned up quarter of an hour early maybe.
Yeah.
10-15 minutes and more.
Wasn't much.
Something like that. And we were straight into the building. The guy outside sort of said, yeah, go straight through. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you'd turned up, the bad thing, if you turned up really early before your slot, like some people did trying to get on early.
Yeah.
And the day we were there, at least anyway, 1st of July, they were just making people queue outside for ages until there was a bit of a gap, then they'd let a few people in.
Yeah, some people on like some of the groups said, oh, you can turn up early, it's fine. And I think that might happen now and again. But I think if it's like a booked up cruise, they'd be like, no, we're not letting everyone through. Because basically when we got there and we breezed through, they let us in the building, we went straight to a check-in desk pretty much.
Yeah.
Went straight through security. We were basically on within about 10 minutes of going through.
Yeah, it was straight in the door, up the escalator. Mm-hmm. It's only 5 minutes at most, waiting a little queue to get to a desk. And then the lovely lady that checked us in was a little old lady chatting away. And then we were on the zigzag gangway up to the ship.
Yeah. We're not going to say that's going to be everyone's experience because it could be different, but for us it was really easy. And another good point is the luggage drop off. It's really easy. You don't need to take it into the terminal with you at all. You drop it off outside, they take it, they put it on a conveyor belt, it gets put on the ship.
Yeah, several little areas that are labelled by the deck of the ship, because by that point you'll know what room you're in. Mm-hmm. And so deck, say 15 to 16 or 14 to 16 was at one place, and carried on down. So yeah, we just took our cases, they put it on a conveyor belt, and away it went.
Gone. Yeah.
Apart from our case with our...
Yeah, we took all the alcohol and drinks in our case.
Not that they had much alcohol.
No, just so it didn't get damaged, that was all.
Next section is the cabin, which was for us cabin 14316.
Yep, on deck 14 in case you didn't know.
Yeah, 14 and cabin 316 on deck 14.
Yep.
Good point. It's clean.
Yeah, very clean, yeah.
Obviously, it should be. But
yeah.
You hear these
you
tales.
expect that, yeah.
Lots of storage space.
Yeah.
Big triple wardrobe. You could put stuff under the bed. There's lots of cupboards. Mm-hmm. Decent amount of sockets as well.
Yeah, which for us works really well because we're now vlogging, we have like
all
different
the cameras
and
the battery packs to charge.
The laptop as well to transfer stuff.
As well as our mobiles and like everybody else having cameras. Yeah. We did take, as recommended by people in some of the Facebook groups, though, we bought a USB dock thing that we had.
Yeah, it's like a plug with just USBs in it.
Yeah, because that gave us from one socket in the wall, then gave us like 4 outlets.
We have heard conflicting things. Some people say you can take extension cables, but some people said no, they're banned, so we didn't
risk it.
Didn't risk it. So yeah, our room specifically was close to the lifts. You kind of went out, turned left, and then like the door to the lifts, like just a few meters down. So we were really close to the lifts, but you couldn't hear them at all.
Yeah, we were like from the lobby-ish area where the lifts are and the stairwell. We were like 3 or 4 doors most down the corridor, so it was quite quick and easy. Yeah. So you couldn't hear anybody coming backwards and forwards in the early hours and everything. So it was far enough away from them that you were quiet, but close enough to be able to get to it in a few minutes.
Yeah, but I think even so, I think where our cabin is, we would have been lined up to actually where the lifts were. Like the wall opposite us, the lifts would have been on the other side of that wall, but we didn't hear them at all.
No, but if you were...
Yeah, no, people,
The cabin sort of right opposite the stairwells, where you'd probably hear people coming and going.
Yeah. But you don't hear the lifts at all, like the actual lifts. Like some people have said, like in other places, like hotels and stuff, so don't be near the lifts because you can hear them, but we just didn't hear them at all.
Yeah.
And it was a really good location for getting around the ship as well. Like, it's not... There's cabins above and below you, so you don't have any noise above or below you. And, like, it's really easy to get around. It's probably the same wherever you are. But, I mean, if you were, like, right at the bottom of the ship, take even longer to get up to the top. But for us, we were in a good place.
Yeah. Bad points?
So, bad points. There wasn't really many. We had to rack our brains to try and find a bad point for this.
Yeah.
But what we did decide upon is that the balcony that we had, because when you look at Iona, we'll put a picture up probably, along the sides there's kind of indentations where there were cabins, and we were in a cabin there, which meant that the ones that aren't indented to like the left, their balconies overlooked ours. Not an issue because we didn't spend a lot of time on the balcony.
Basically the front and the back of the ship, some of the cabins come out in the shape of the ship, so where we were, right next to us was one of the curved cabins that's sticking out, so they could, because a couple of times we sort of nodded and smiled at them, but then backed out of the balcony back indoors. But,
so if you're the kind that likes to sunbathe in not very much on your balcony, then that's probably not the best place for you. We don't really sunbathe that much, so...
and had a little blanket on, didn't we, to have a...
Yeah, it wasn't really the weather for sunbathing.
But no, other than that, I think that's like the only downside of the cabin, really. It was really good one.
Yeah, we didn't have any issues at all, really. So there was a couple of switches beside our bed that we didn't know what they did, but we heard after we left that they're probably for the steps light for the bathroom. Like the bathroom has like a step light, and that's probably what they were for.
But you continually tried pressing these buttons and going, nothing's going on or off. What are these for?
And obviously we weren't looking down at the steps, so... So if anyone goes and you check that, let us know in the description below. Comments below whether that is the case. So now on to food. Now we are going to have a separate video that we're going to review all the restaurants we went to, and we'll talk more about the actual food itself. But we thought we'd put together just some good and bad points about some of the stuff that we did.
Basic sort of good bad, yeah.
Yeah.
So the one we ate at most days, the Horizons buffet,
which I think a lot of people will spend a lot of time there.
Which itself got confusing after a while because Horizons is the name of the buffet. It's also the name of the entertainment leaflet they put at the door in the evening.
Yeah.
So talking about Horizons to each other sometimes, you're going, sorry, you're on about the food or you're on about the magazine thing?
It is definitely Horizons, isn't it, the buffet?
Well, it better be. That's what we've been calling it all the time. Sure it was, yeah. It's very confusing if it is the same name for both.
Yeah.
Unless you got confused somewhere along the line, which is very easily done.
Yeah, I don't remember. But we'll put a comment if we got it wrong. I think we are right though. But anyway, yeah, it's a buffet, so there's going to be a few good and bad points here, I think.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
It's open most of the day from early in the morning.
Yeah.
There's a small little window for about half an hour where they swap between breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
Where they sort of close them down. So at one point in the holiday, we went to eat at that point, and there was nothing to be had in the whole ship apart from the ice cream counter in the Sky Dome.
That was
Forced
nice.
ourselves to have ice cream for brunch.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's open all the way until I think like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we'll check. We've got the little magazines. We'll check, and we'll put the time in that it closes here for you.
Yeah.
But it did have a good selection of food, though.
Yeah,
that's another good point. Lots of different types of food. Sometimes really random food. Like at one point, I think I was eating just shawarma, like just lamb. It was a bit like lamb kebab meat, just randomly.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of days they had a roast meats, like a Sunday roast, and a couple of days it was like curries and stuff.
Yeah.
And every day they had the cold meat platters and the salad stuff, and all the desserts changed every few days as well. So a lot of selection. There's always going to be something that you'd like, unless you've got dietary requirements, in which case I'm sure I've read that on Facebook and that people have been given the dietary requirements they needed if they've spoken to them. Or, like wheat free or whatever, or gluten free and stuff. But don't quote us on that for definite because. No.
So bad points leading on from that. I think one of the things is a lot of it is just the food from the restaurants anyway. So it's the same food you can get in the restaurant, so you're not getting much variety across the ship, but it's still nice because you don't have to get a table, for example. Sometimes it was dry as well. Sometimes some of the food was dry.
Especially late in the day. Like the once or twice we did go at like 10, 11, 12 at night after a show or something, the stuff looked like it had been sat there from lunchtime or something. Obviously it wouldn't have been sat there, but it looks like it's been... Because anyway, like some of the... I remember the crab pate thing looking like it had been quite dry and... Yeah,
because that weird sort of orangey type of colour where it's dried out.
But at least there was food available.
Yeah, that was good when we were hungry at like... I think it must have been like 11 o'clock at night we went randomly just to eat. I can't remember, it was after the show.
I think it was after we saw that weird bird thing.
Oh yeah.
Bird thing in the Sky Dome.
Fair enough. It does get quite busy though.
Yes, that's another bad point, is the space between the serving counters, the alleyways, are not very wide, so when you've got a lot of people in there pushing and shoving, trying to get through their plate of food and everything else. It's not very good if like you and you got your anxiety, so people with anxiety and claustrophobia, for example, wouldn't it? Or if you've got mobility issues.
Yeah, if you're in like a wheelchair type thing.
Exactly. Obviously, if you've got a wheelchair or walking sticks or something trying to get through, it'll be a bit harder. At the main, obviously, there are times when it's a bit quieter, but at the main meal times, it's going to be a squash to get through. Yeah,
at one point, like going up, before you actually go into the section, which is the buffet, like the gangways going up to it, like just people just jam-packed through, and then you can't go anywhere because there's people just stopped there, and it becomes a bit of a free-for-all, really, which isn't great, but... It is what it is. I mean, it's a buffet. That's where most people are going to probably eat, so that's probably why.
And one good point is lots of seating.
Yes, there is lots of seating there.
There's a lot of tables and chairs, and because you got both ends, either side of the service thing, so it goes for quite a while, doesn't it? Plus you've got some of the external outside, seating as well. People will take the food outside or into the Sky Dome. So there's a lot of places to sit if you want a quieter spot.
And the only other bad point is drinks. So a lot of drinks aren't included. Obviously you have to buy a drinks package, and soft drinks generally aren't included. So generally throughout the day for soft drinks there's only water available for like cold drinks and stuff, but at breakfast you've got I think orange juice and apple juice.
I don't remember if I actually got any in the end.
I did at one point.
There was a queue.
There was always a queue, but like the machine then, the same machine that does orange and apple juice or whatever it is, then switches to just be water after that. After breakfast, so.
And for those of us who don't like drinking water because it's vile on its own, then they had to go get a drink faster.
Yeah, which meant we had to pay for it, which is fine. We knew we were paying for drinks, but hey, it's just one thing to bear in mind, that you won't really get anything to drink.
No.
So next we're going to talk about the other restaurants on the ship. We're not going to go into depth we're not going to go in depth about them because we're going to have a separate video about the review. But the first one we're going to talk about is the Olive Grove, which is one of our favourite restaurants. So what was good about that?
All of it. The choice of food, because a lot of it was included in the price of your cruise. There were some of the options that you just paid a little bit extra for. Which
Bob liked to pick every time we went in.
Can't help it, the things I wanted off the menu. Again, it was only like £4 or £5.
Yeah,
it was very cheap. So I mean, we went there twice, and we both ordered the same 3 dishes each time. Both times we went because we really enjoyed it that much. But the menu was really good.
Yep.
The service was great. The head waiter was very friendly because he booked us in for the second time because he was running out of spaces. He told us.
Yeah, he made sure we got booked in again.
Even though we didn't actually go there the second time, it's very empty. I'm going to take this hat off because it's a bit warm in here. We're filming this in the middle of the mini heat wave.
Yes, our UK heat. What's classed as a heat wave here in the UK? It's currently 27 degrees centigrade in the office, this area where we're filming, so it's quite warm.
My solar panel was overheating.
And as we've said before, we don't have air conditioning as standard in UK houses, so...
No.
But anyway.
But yeah, so the Olive Grove, definitely recommend that one.
Mm-hmm. One tip is, if you're leaving Oldham, try not to book it over the departure time, because we missed the whole thing at Oldham. They do like a goodbye thing with music and flags, and we missed that.
And apparently everybody raves about how good and friendly that is, and that's at 6 o'clock, which is when our meal was booked for.
Yeah.
So we didn't see
we
any
didn't
of
think about it at the time.
No. But I can't think don't think there's anything bad about the Olive Grove.
No, not really. I can't think of anything at all. The only, I suppose you could say bad that it books up. But that's going to happen with all restaurants. So. Yeah. But yeah.
The next one, Keel and Cow.
A very good one too.
Food was really good there.
Tasty. Didn't
have a problem getting a table at any point. It didn't sort of book up and fill out at all.
No, these ones you don't book in advance. Again, we'll talk about it more in the actual review for the restaurants, but you just go on the app and you say, I want to join a queue. And I think we only waited like about 10 minutes at the most to be seated. So.
Yeah. The only downside for that one was the second time we went to it, the food did take a long time, because they're obviously preparing it fresh, but it did seem to take a very long time the second time, didn't it? Yeah,
they do actually warn you. Well, they did warn us that time. They said just to beware that it can be like 45 minutes between your starter and your main, because everything's cooked fresh. So they did actually say it, but it did seem like a long time when you're hungry. You're sitting there going, I just want it.
Especially as it was a lot quicker than that the first time. So it didn't seem that busy that second time either. There was only a couple of the tables. No. But it's just one of those things you have to sort of bear in mind.
Yeah. Next one on the list is the Limelight. Now, this isn't just a standard restaurant. This is one where you have entertainment.
A show and a meal.
Dinner and a show.
That's the one.
So yeah, we saw Le Voir, which you would have seen in the vlogs if you've seen them. If not, we'll link that day in the...
Yeah, that was the Sunday, which was celebration night when we went
Bob's
there.
Birthday, yeah.
My birthday. Well, I didn't put my hand up when she asked anybody else had a birthday, I think, because
no.
But the meal itself, the food on there was really. There's a couple of things on there were a bit like you didn't like the not pea puree, but
panna cotta.
Yeah, panna cotta. And to be honest, I thought it was a bit weird as well. So the food itself, like we had the steak. And the desserts were nice, wasn't it? There's like a weird strudel thing that I had, and then followed by wherever I had two, because the waiter gave me both dessert options.
Yeah, but it is slightly limited though, the menu, so that you've only got I think like 2 options of each thing.
Yeah. 2 starter, 2 choices, 2 mains choices. And
the problem is when you're booking it online ahead of time, because you book this one ahead of time, and it's extra cost. You won't know what the menu is. It shows you a sample menu, but it won't tell you what the menu is. So you may get there and actually be like, I don't like any of this. Potentially, depending how fussy you are, which I am.
And the bad thing about the Limelight, is it Limelight Club, Limelight Bar? I always forget.
I can't
remember. Is the time it takes, because it's a dinner show. We were expecting, and apparently a lot of other people have said the same thing online that we've seen reviews since then. They're expecting that you are eat your meal whilst enjoying the entertainment.
Yeah, but it's not.
Turns out that they had a bit of entertainment from the lounge, the in-house band that what are they called, Limelights, or what they called?
Limelights, yeah.
Which they were very good. Although the acoustics were very dodgy in there, but them as a warm-up act. Then you had then you had your start. Then there was a more. I think the Le Voir came out for like 10 minutes.
Like a pre-show almost.
And there's basically it took like 3 hours to have this meal and the entertainment in total, because there's a bit of this, then a bit of food, then a bit of more entertainment, then a bit of food, then more entertainment, then your meal, and then and by that point you're just thinking, as nice as this is, I'm just funny as she was as well. Just by the end of it, thinking I was glad to get out of there, just because you sat 3 hours in the same seat, in your shirt and suit, trying not to pop the buttons on your shirt and everything.
Well, we didn't need to wear them because
didn't have to. No, but it's celebration night. It was my birthday.
One good thing though we will say is the entertainment was very good. Though.
Oh, very good, definitely. If Le Voir is available on the cruise you're on, if you're going on one, definitely recommend a great drag act.
So next is the Keys, which we only managed to eat in there once.
Once was enough.
Yeah. Now, I have heard good things about this from other people, so I don't know whether we just had a really bad day, but bad point is the food for us was overcooked. So like my southern fried chicken, the the skin was like solid from where it had been overcooked or left, I suppose, out. I don't know. It was very hard, and you had a similar issue with.
I had my meal from the hook, line, and vinegar, and I know it's going to be not very big portions. I assume because it's a free meal, included meal. But it was a very, very small piece of fish in batter, overcooked, very greasy, and the chips weren't that good either. To be honest, the only bit that was really nice about the meal was the peas.
I suppose a good point is you can go back multiple times. So if there's not enough, you can keep going back.
Yeah, but I feel bad keep going like 2 or 3 times. Going to have another fish chip. Have another fish.
Please, sir, can I have some more? On the plus side, the good side is the food's ready straight away. A bit like the buffet.
As soon as you walk up, ask what you want, dish it out. There you are.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Well, certainly the 2 we went to, which was the boardwalk and hook, line, and vinegar. But I don't know whether the Asian fusion one was because we didn't try that one. But I assume it's similar.
Yeah, should be in theory.
But yeah.
Another bad point being that area, the quays, gets very packed very quickly. A couple of times we were thinking, right, we're going to go to see what's there to eat, and every time we walked in there, it was absolutely rammed.
Yeah.
The only reason we ate when we did was because it was empty when we walked in there.
Yeah. So the last restaurant we ate at is Pearl, which is one of the main dining rooms. There's 4 of them. Can't remember the names, but
I know one of them is called Aqua. I can't remember.
Opal,
Aqua, Pearl, and
some other.
Another one, which will be on the screen when I find it.
Yeah. But yeah, so good points for that is plenty of seating. Well, certainly in Pearl. I know the other ones, some of the others are smaller, but Pearl is over 2 floors, plenty of seating. So
and each day the menu for all 4 is exactly the same. Isn't it?
So it doesn't matter where you go, you get the same food. And again, getting a table was easy. It's similar to the Key and Cow where you say, I want to join a virtual queue, and then it'll say, come now or whatever, however long.
Whatever,
and then you go and you get to eat straight away. So that's quite easy. Bad points?
We went for lunch on one day.
Yep.
And the options weren't there wasn't much to choose from, was there? And when it came out, it was just basically a bit of chicken in a bun.
Yeah.
Or baguette or something, if I remember.
Standard, like, baguette.
Yeah, so...
Not that we expect, like, a gourmet meal, but just...
No, but just from all the hype we were given about how good these main dining rooms are, we just thought, okay, maybe just because it's a lunch menu. So we went back a few days later for the evening meal. Mm-hmm. And again, we weren't that impressed, were we?
Yeah. The meal was nice, just not anything to write home about, nothing to rave about.
I know you can apparently, again, ask for seconds or thirds of the same course, apparently, because we've seen that on some of the Facebook groups, people saying, oh, my son had 3 courses of that to make it enough.
Yeah,
but
maybe
again,
next time if I find a dessert, I'll just ask for 3 desserts.
But yeah, I mean, it was quick and the service was friendly. It's just the fact that the food itself, we were a bit sort of, yeah.
So another bad point is also the tables are very close together.
Yes.
We had a couple next to us, and it felt like we were sat at the same table as them. I know some people like that, but we're quite introverted.
Despite being vloggers as it now, but it's a case of when we're out and about among people, it's a case of if we don't know them, we're a bit sort of quiet around them. So
we're not
having
saying
somebody sat like 12 inches away.
Yeah, we're not saying that if you see us about, don't come and talk to us. That's fine, but I don't know. There's just something weird about having a meal with someone else that you don't really know. I don't know. It's a bit weird. I don't know. It's just me. Mm-hmm. And also, the other thing is you can't see the menu ahead of time. So if you want to see what menu they've got on that day, you have to go to the dining room, and they're outside the dining rooms, which is a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
Because if you want to book a table there, you book it and you might get it there and go, I actually don't like anything on the menu. Or you have to go there and go, okay, well, I need to join the queue. And you might be able to go up and actually ask to be seated and they'll put you in a queue, but I don't know. But definitely.
Next time we go, we can try.
Yeah.
And the next section is The Retreat.
Yes.
Which is the adults only sort of recreation lounge area.
Yep.
There's lounges, sunbeds, 2 hot tubs.
Yeah. So
good point. It's quiet.
Yep.
The most I think we had was like 6-7 other people at one point.
Again, we're not going to say that's what experience everyone's going to have, but just on our cruise that's what happened.
Yeah. For us, a good point was it's free of kids.
Yes.
No offence to those that like having the kids around them, because obviously we love our nephews and nieces and that, but especially with your anxiety and and that as well, it's a case of we like the fact that you can just go there for a bit of peace and quiet.
I just like to sit down and relax and be quiet, whereas if you're around the main pool, kids are playing, which is fine, I'm not saying that's a problem, but obviously I just want a quiet place to go and sit down and relax, and you can't always get that in the main areas.
No.
As Bob said, there's 2 hot tubs, which is good if there's not many people there.
So you've more or less guaranteed a chance of getting a hot tub on your own.
When they work.
There was a couple of times that it didn't.
Yeah.
They provide blanket. I know all of the areas around the ship provide towels, but the retreat also provided little blankets and some robes.
Yep.
So when you come out of the hot tub, you can put a robe on and sit there. They were quite small, but little blankets to put over your legs if you sat at the lounges and that.
Which I suppose you won't always need, like if you're on a Mediterranean cruise, but when you're in Norway, then you sometimes do need it.
Yeah, and they did have at certain times of the day a small selection of food available for those that were paid for the retreat.
Yeah, and drinks available as well at those times.
Yeah, they had like tea and coffee, didn't they? And then flavoured water.
Yep. So that kind of takes us on to the bad points.
Is that the food itself, the food options were very weird.
Yeah, not great. And there isn't like options, it's like...
There's a couple of they basically come in a little green plastic tub, like a plastic takeaway tub almost.
Yeah.
With a label on it what it is. So there's usually like 2 options.
One's like a vegetarian.
One was like a deconstructed sandwich thing, wasn't it? One of them had diced up bits of rye bread and the egg and whatever else it was, and the salmon. So again, it's okay, but it's a bit fiddly trying to eat that. And then and one that he had which was okay, which was the scones and
it was the afternoon tea. That would be a plus side for me.
And again, if you don't like having cups of tea in the middle of the day, which I don't, and then the only option then is flavoured water. It wasn't very nice because the water had bits of, one had lemon floating in it, one had oranges or whatever it was, and
they're just so weak though.
Yeah, so weak. So it's a case of no, that still just tastes like water.
Yeah,
I don't like drinking water.
And that's pretty much all. There is milk in the fridge, which is for the tea, and I did get Bob a glass of milk at one point, but I'm not sure whether we were meant to. But it was sat there.
Nobody else was there.
No.
There's always a couple of members of staff
wandering around,
checking everything, keeping it all straight and tidy, refilling stuff. So I'm sure they'd have told us off if we were supposed to have it.
Yeah.
Main bad point though is the expense of it.
Yeah, it's very expensive. It was £120 each, or was it 140? Again, we'll have to put the price on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. We haven't prepared properly. But yeah, 100 and something pounds each for the week. I think if you're in the Mediterranean, it might be better.
Yeah, the problem being that heading out into the North Sea and to Norway, it's not known for its lovely sunny weather at sea.
Not necessarily.
When you're trying to use the retreat in the daytime, the wind, because it's at the front of the ship at the top, is just where the glass panel is. There's obviously gaps to break the wind a bit, and the wind just whistles through that. You're sat there basically with the coat on, your hat on, blanket around, thinking, "Oh, this isn't as relaxing as it should be."
Yeah, we're on holiday in the middle of summer, and we've got like blankets over us and warm jackets on.
So, had you been? It was alright when we were the couple of times we actually made port.
Yeah, they were.
Nice. They were sort of sat at port in the evening before they pulled away, and that was better.
Yeah.
But obviously, then lots more people had the same idea, so that's when it got a little bit busier. But yeah, it's probably better if you're doing the Iona Mediterranean cruises they do later in the year.
Yeah.
Because hopefully, I assume the weather out at sea is going to be a bit warmer there.
Possibly, yeah. You still might get wind though, because you're obviously moving forward. So, yeah. So the other bad point with the retreat is that it's slightly overlooked in places. So parts of it have like a not a roof, but like an awning, but not all of it does. And then just above you is one of the sun decks, the forward sun deck. I can't remember which deck it's on, but people can look down into the retreat and see you. I don't know if that bothers everyone, and I know there are other ships that have it like that, like Disney. One of their spa areas overlooked by people. But yeah, for us, if we were sunbathers, like in just like our swim shorts, I'd feel a bit uncomfortable people looking at me.
That's why we don't tend to get down to our swim shorts.
No, we don't.
Obviously when we're in the hot tub, but
I mean, that won't be a major issue for everyone.
Entertainment,
yes. So this could be a very big category because we could talk about every single bit of entertainment that we did, but we're not going to. No.
So generalisation is good points.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big variety of entertainment.
Yeah.
Every evening you get, again, I'm sure it's called the Horizons leaflet. It's like a couple of A4 sheets outside your door in the little post slot. which lists all of the next day's activities on board.
Yep.
Activities, I believe, start around 7ish in the morning, give or take.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of time, which is the things usually exercise-related things.
Yeah.
That goes through until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning for some of the club stuff.
Yeah,
there's all throughout the day there's all sorts of
kind of runs the gambit from crafts, archery, quizzes, club night type things, that type of thing.
Jewellery,
talks
and stuff.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of stuff on, and all of the ships on board.
All
of the shops on board the ship seem to at least once or twice a week have a talk of some, like there was one for the Pandora store, they had a talk. There was the one we went to had a couple of different talks for the different types of jewellery they do. There was one in that Norway shop on board that they sold the mugs and that, so they all had their go.
Yeah, something for everyone then, so kids, adults, whatever. You'll find something. There's even bingo if you like that type of thing. We don't particularly like that, but yeah, it's your thing. There are some bad points though. They're more specific to certain things, not an overall bad point. But we found acoustics for some of the things we saw weren't great. So the Sky Dome, as an example, was very echoey. So when you had singers singing, you couldn't really understand them very well. We also found the singers in the Limelight Lounge were great, but again, the acoustics, you couldn't really hear her singing all the time.
In both places where they were singing, the music and the instruments just seemed to be so loud that it drowned out the singer. Yeah,
I think with the Sky Dome it was worse because you've got the sound of the music bouncing off the wall, off the ceiling, and the sound of them. It's just not.
And where we were sat as well on the balcony bit, so the singers are down below us. The guy doing the music stuff is over to the side, and so all together, it just you couldn't really hear the music, the singing that well. But
no, they were great singers, but just that kind of drowned it out a bit for us. I wouldn't say it's terribly bad. Like, it's not something that would stop me from ever booking again. But
no, definitely not.
It's just not great.
But like you said, other areas book up really quickly. Like say the art thing, you do 3 or 4 of the different art classes. Mainly the free ones. We did pay for one of them.
The free ones tend to. I don't know whether they have a limit on things, but the paid ones, I think they booked up quite quickly, didn't they?
Yeah, there's one that we went to queue up for, and it had like I think 20 something spaces, and it cut out about 3 people in front of us. So unfortunately we missed out on that. But if you want those, get there a lot earlier than you think you need to, because there's always going to be lots of people mingling around. And suddenly, when the class teacher, if you want to call it, appears, there's a big queue, and she has to go along and count how many she's got space for.
Another bad point. Sorry, I'm not going to talk over you. I apologise.
No, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Anyway,
that's all right. Was though there's lots of entertainment, which is great. You might find there's lots of entertainment you want to do, which means that sometimes you can't do some of it because it'll overlap with other bits of entertainment. So you might go, I want to do this and I want to do this, but actually they overlap each other, so you can't do them both. That's a weird thing to say as a bad thing, because really it's a good thing there's so much on. But if you miss that because
we were doing a quiz and realised that we only had a few minutes for the quiz hadn't even finished, and yet the art class we wanted to do started, and you're thinking, well, do we leave the quiz now before they're finished to try and do the art class? Do we have to miss that art? Do we have to go and do this somewhere else, or do we miss that? So
I
don't know.
But they do a lot of things that are repeated, so if you figure it out ahead of time and go, okay, well, on this day I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to do this one because it overlaps, and we'll hope that it's repeated because it may be repeated in another day. Not always, but yeah. So, next is
the excursions we did.
Yep.
Admittedly, we only did 3 out of the 4 days of excursions because, as you would have seen in the series, we missed Stavanger.
Boo hiss.
Because of bad weather.
We got the money back though, so
yeah. But good points in general for the 3 that we did. Booking in advance was easy online.
Yeah, no issues with that. It gives you information about it. It gives you an activity level. The only thing I will mention is activity level isn't always accurate from what I've heard. We did some really easy ones, so it's fine, but some of them it might say activity level is low, but actually there's a bit more walking than you think there will be.
Yeah. If you book the excursions through P&O, and there's some form of delay on the excursion, the ship will wait for you to get back. Whereas if you don't, and you do it, you can get a lot of the chain excursions cheaper, booked locally as soon as you get off the ship. If you do that and there's a delay, the ship won't wait for you.
They'll leave you, and then you'll have to go and try and meet you at the next port, which isn't great. Tour guides were really good. They gave lots of interesting facts, learnt lots of new stuff. Can't think of any of it off the top of my head right now, but because I got bad memory. But yeah, they were really good, friendly. If you want to ask them a question, they answered it. So yeah, really good.
We showed clips of the excursions on the relevant days in the series, but we are also putting together a video with just the excursions with more details, more of the footage that we took on those days. So anybody that's interested in seeing more of what each excursion we took is about, then they'll be up soon.
Yep. And also another plus side about excursions is you're going to see things that you wouldn't necessarily see. So if you don't book an excursion, just wander around the town, for example, you just see the town, which is fine if that's what you want, but an excursion allows you to go further out potentially and see things.
Up into the hills, see the fjords, the countryside around there is amazing, so you wouldn't really have seen that otherwise. So.
No.
Bad point, it can be quite expensive. I'd say very expensive, but reasonably expensive. Yeah,
reasonably expensive. I have seen that there are some where if you book them when you get ashore with like the local companies, they are cheaper, but they're not like massively cheaper. So the expensive thing I don't mind so much because it's the peace of mind for me. I'm not going to worry that we're going to miss the ship, and that for me is good. But yeah, well, the ones that we did, we found that there was a lot of time on a bus.
Yeah, unfortunately, the one that we missed at Stavanger, was the one where you get onto a little boat and you go up the fjord and you go see Pulpit Rock, which would have been different.
Yeah.
But because we couldn't make it to Stavanger, the three that were left were all get on a coach for a few hours, get taken somewhere, look at the pretty scenery, go around a museum in the case of that third one, at Hogsand.
And the Allisand one, the outside museum.
Yeah. But that was, at least that was out in the fresh air. But yeah, so they're all three more or less of the same thing, whereas it's get on a coach, given some facts by the tour as you're driving around, get to your destination, get off for a little while and back on the coach again. So
yeah.
But they were all three different in their own ways, enough to make it interesting for us. But
yeah,
we wouldn't necessarily do those three.
No.
Because once you've done them and you've experienced it, do something different next time.
Yeah. And something else to bear in mind, which could be a bad part, is some of them do book up quicker than others. So I can't remember which one it was that I saw that booked up quite quickly. I think it's one of the kayaking ones. Not something I do anyway, necessarily, because I can't swim. I don't know, you don't need to, but some of them do book up a lot quicker than others. So that might tell you which ones are the good ones to go for, to be honest. But yeah. So finally, when it comes to the actual ship,
Disembarkation.
Yeah, which is the sad day.
The go home day.
Yeah.
Good point is you have a choice. You do give a choice. You can either leave your baggage out the evening before, they'll collect it, and they'll give you a time slot where you can disembark.
Yep.
The downside of that is that you still have to leave your room by a certain time. You think it was 8 o'clock in the morning.
So the 8 or 8:30, we'll confirm and we'll put it in the thing.
Your disembarkation might not be until nearer 10 o'clock, which means you just walk around the ship with you.
Yeah, for like 2 hours.
2 hours, trying to find something to do, because you have to be out of your room so they can clean it for the next people.
And they don't really put on entertainment as far as I'm aware. I didn't see, because it's only till 10, so they don't give you a horizon thing to tell you what's on.
Obviously the other option, if you don't want to do that, is what we did, which was keep your luggage with you and then you can get off in the morning. Admittedly, the bad point is it was a bit misleading with the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We swear we were told that in the bit of paper, that the letter they give you the day before, that the time it docks, you'll be able to disembark yourself from 8:30 onwards.
Yeah.
We looked out of our balcony when we got back to Southampton, looked out and it was like 7:10. We were looking out and people were already out across the car park with their luggage, so we left and we were off the ship by about 7:20. But again, that was a bit slower getting out because there seemed to be a bit of a backup, but
yeah,
it was still pretty quick to get off.
We obviously can't comment on the collection of your luggage if you have got them to take it off, but we did walk through the place where they are, and they're in colours, so that might be easy. I don't know, but it could be a bit of a free for all. I'm not going to comment because we didn't do it. So
if you've got the experience of what it's like letting them take your luggage off and being given a time slot, if that's good or bad, leave the comment below, please.
Put a comment, so other people can see it. So finally, we're going to do final thoughts.
Mm-hmm. So we've listed these little notes we keep glancing at as questions to ourselves.
Yeah.
First one is, did we enjoy it?
Did you enjoy it?
Hated it.
Hated every minute of it.
Really loved it. Yeah. It took me personally, I'm not sure about Dan, it took me like 24 hours to get my sea legs.
Yeah, I didn't really have an issue with that.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if it was because I was feeling a little bit icky anyway before we left. This sort of, so I'm not sure if it was that or whether it was just my sea legs, but yeah, for the first sort of 24 hours. After that, I think it was like until the Sunday afternoon, evening, wasn't it, when we were having our meal. After that, I felt fine.
Yeah.
So if you're not used to being on the ship or anything like that, you may have the same problem. But apart from that, after I got my sea legs, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
We did have one moment of, I don't want to say stress, but when we missed Stavanger.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. It's in the vlog. If you want to see it, go back to that day in the
we
vlog.
did get a little bit, I don't know what to do. I get cabin fever.
So what was the best thing?
Spending time with you.
See, he said he was going to say that, and I told him
warned
not
you.
to.
It's the truth.
Apart from that,
it's a choice between the whole experience of being at sea for my birthday and on the celebration, all dolled up in our suits. So that was a really nice day. But I think my favourite thing we did was probably the Oldham excursion, going out into the.
That was my one.
I already said it before when we were on about it, because the scenery. I think out of the 3 excursions, that had the best scenery. What are you trying to do?
I'll pull you forwards because you keep moving backwards. You keep saying, "Oh, I'm not in the picture very much."
Well, no, because my seat keeps hitting your seat.
Better. No. Yeah, the excursion. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think the excursion, and probably the biggest laugh was watching Lavoir because she was very funny. How about you?
I'm going to change my best thing now because he took mine, and I'm going to.
I think it was your best thing as well. Just say so.
No, I'm going to say the celebration night, but specifically getting photos done with you. Because they were really nice photos, and they cost a fortune.
Yeah, talk about it was 125, was it, for 5 digital only photos?
We paid 100 for ours.
100 was that? It was 125.
No, it would have been 125 if we added. The
that was so there was £25 extra if we wanted the extra one that we liked, the jazz hands, which we didn't go for in.
Yeah, so not great, but the photos were really good, and it's the first time we've had like professional photos done like that. So that was really good.
I did really like those.
So do you think it was value for money? So we paid about 2,000 for the cruise.
I think so, yeah. Bear in mind you've got food available all the time, you've got entertainment all the time, you've got a really nice room. The option obviously to do the excursions or to do your own thing when you get to the destinations.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed it. I think it was good value for money.
Yeah, I think when you compare it to other ships, it is good value for money. It's not the cheapest. And it's not the most expensive. I mean, Disney's more expensive for less days.
I was going to say, it's only our second cruise. We did a Disney cruise for, was it 3 nights?
Yeah.
And it was more money than this was for 7.
More,
than this was for 7. So
it is value for money. I think the cheaper ones might be as good value for money, but we've never done them, so I can't really comment on them. But for us, it was.
What was your worst thing?
Okay, I skipped that question. Sorry. My worst thing. It's difficult.
Spending time with me.
No, never. I know what my worst thing was. Missing Stavanger. That was disappointing. We were excited about that. That was the one excursion that I was most excited about as well, which is typical. But because it was like the mini cruise within a cruise up the fjords. So. But hey, it can't be helped.
Safe than sorry when it comes to docking in the bad weather.
I'm not going to moan about it. I know some people probably will have moaned about it, made complaints to management or whatever, but there's nothing you can do about it. You get the refund, and if you've got good insurance, you'll get a some money back from insurance for missing a port. We didn't because we paid for the cheapest insurance, so our excess was more than the money we would have got back. So
yeah.
What about you? What was the worst thing for you?
Probably when I was feeling rough the first day in a bit, because it really put me off. That and that Monday afternoon when we had Mr. Wenger and we just couldn't find anything to do. Again, that kind of that frame of mind where thinking we were just irritating each other and ourselves, going, well, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? There's nothing I want to do. What about you? So those two bits between feeling rough and that 1 hour space of the 3 or 4 hours in the afternoon where we just basically went back to the room in a grump and watched TV. Yeah. But other than that, everything else was really enjoyable. Yeah. Apart from the overcooked food.
So I think the next big question is, would you do it again?
Yes.
Would you do that specific one again?
Yeah, I think so, because there's still things there's still Stavanger to get to. Yep. And at the other 3 ports, Alisund, Olden and Haugesund, and they pronunciation correct or wrong, I'm not very sure.
Correct or wrong,
yeah. There's still other things to do at each of those ports that we didn't do this time. So at least one more visit to those 4 ports to do the things we didn't do this time.
I think they do a couple of different itineraries to Norway, though.
Yeah.
So you might not always get the same ports. I can't remember what the other ones are, but there's
one it looks like it's spelled Helsinki or something like that, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I don't know how that is, but yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I'd definitely do it again.
Yeah, I would definitely do it again. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'd change. So I think there's a few things that I'd change though if we did do it again.
Drinks package.
We might get a drinks package. Just soft drinks, yeah. That would be useful.
Not to the retreat?
No. Unless we did a cruise in the Mediterranean, as I said, where we might use it more, potentially.
Yeah.
But for Norway, the food wasn't amazing enough to warrant getting it, and though it was quiet and stuff, there is an adults only area that isn't the retreat. So if you wanted to get away from the kids, you could still go there. And
for a while when we came back, we thought we'd missed a trick because you thought you saw online, didn't you, that if you paid for the retreat, you had access to some of the
thermal suites.
But then you realised that you would have had to pay for those anyway.
You have access to be able to use it, but you have to pay extra for that as well.
So it still wasn't worth the money we paid for it, especially even though we went up there most days, it was only for like
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes, half an hour at most. In this case, it's too cold and windy, let's go back and do something else.
Yeah.
Some of the other restaurants, maybe. I know we still wouldn't do Sindhu because you don't like the curries and that.
No, but I've heard good things about the Epicurean, which has some really good food. But even some of the like quick services, like the one in the Sky Dome, there's like one that does like pizzas and hot dogs. Yeah. Just to try them. So I'd definitely do those again. I do other restaurants we've already done, like we probably do Olive Grove again, for example. But yeah.
Probably have the same 3 courses again, if it's on the menu.
No. And yeah, I think that's about it. Because the last question we put down, you've already answered.
Oh, the same excursions,
yeah. Yeah, we had a question down that said, would we do the same excursions again? But Bob already answered that, but we probably wouldn't do the exact same ones again.
The one I liked most out of the 3 we managed to do was the Olden one.
Yeah.
So if there's nothing else available, I would do that one again because and hope for the same weather because the views were beautiful.
Yeah, you saw so many beautiful views. Some people won't like it because they're just like, it's just another mountain, just another fjord, but we enjoy vistas like that. So
it does remind me of when my family went to Dunoon in Scotland for a holiday once for a week, and to leave the place we were staying and to get anywhere to visit, as you go past the same loch and the trees. I remember my mum saying, "Oh, it's always the same view." I said, "Well, no, because if it's raining, it looks different to when it's sunny to when it's foggy. It all looks the same stretch of loch looks different depending on what the weather's like, and it's the same out there. And whatever the weather may be in Norway, if you even went on the same excursion again, it might not be the same weather, so it would look different, and it looked just as beautiful in different weather."
Shame they don't do excursions in the winter up there because it would be snowy and you might see the northern lights, etc.
Yeah.
But I know other cruises do, they're just a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to add to that. Is there anything you want to add?
I can't think of anything. Is there anything that you want to ask us about it that we haven't included in this? If we've suddenly forgotten a really obvious thing, just pop a question in the comments. We'll always answer all the questions we get.
Yeah, we try and respond to every comment we get. But yeah, I don't think there's any that we miss normally. That sounds really random me saying that, but yeah.
So as a general, all in all, great cruise. Really enjoyed it. We think it's definitely value for money.
Mm-hmm.
A few things we would do differently next time, but
Yeah.
over and all, really enjoyed it, and can't wait to go back.
Yeah, hopefully soon we'll have another one.
Probably won't be next year if we're doing Disney.
Or the year after, because we're doing Disney. Let's not give away all our plans, just in case they don't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kel surprise, we do Disney.
I know, but it's good that we do other stuff though, because
is,
we are Pup and Bear Travels, not Pup and Bear Does Disney.
Exactly.
But if you did like this, please give it a thumbs up, or a thumbs down if you really want. It does the same, but we prefer the thumbs up. And if you want to see more from us, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I can't know which side it's on, but yeah. You can also follow us on
Instagram, TikTok,
Yep.
Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it now, but we'll keep calling it Twitter.
Yeah, we're not updating the little graphic we've got.
Yeah, you shouldn't have changed the name of it. We have a Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite a nice little community in there. People sort of comment now and then on stuff and weekly questions and stuff. You can also find us online at www.pupandbeartravels.co.uk or .com, and on there it gives you a bit of information about us, links to our vlogs and the other socials.
Yep. So yeah, you can go and check that out if you want. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one. Bye. Come on, baby.